evening, parents. How are you today? Thank you so much for taking your time to join us for today's webinar, Balancing Academics and Creative Interests, Finding the Right Career Path. My name is Rachel Marley, and I'll be a moderator for this session this evening. So we're excited to continue with our parents webinar, the series that we began last Saturday. And this is brought to you by ADMI, Africa Digital Media Institute. Thanks so much for those who are joining us for the second time. I can see familiar names on the attendees list. Asanteni sana for joining us and for taking your time to join us this evening. So if this is your first time engaging with ADMI, allow me to give a brief introduction about ADMI. So we are a leading creative media and technology training institute based in Nairobi, and we work to equip Africa's creatives with the training, the mentorship, and the platform that they need to turn their passion into a profession. We offer creative courses in areas such as film and TV, sound engineering, music production, photography, multimedia, animation, and graphic design. So before we begin, please make sure your microphone is on mute to minimize any background noise that we might have. And then to make sure that the session is engaging, please, I'd want this session to be engaging. So make sure to use the chat function and we will address all your questions and all your comments. So on to the main event. We are honored to be joined by Mercy Mwanga, a highly experienced career consultant and a passionate educator. Allow me to read her bio briefly. So Mercy has over 20 years of experience inspiring students to grow and pursue their full potential. Her journey has seen her evolve from the traditional classroom into broader education and career spaces, helping learners of all ages find purpose and direction in today's fast-changing world. She works closely with professionals globally, creating a rich and diverse learning experience. Karibu sana Mercy. Before we begin, you could tell us one fun or interesting thing about yourself that is not in your bio. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much, Rachel. I hope I'm audible enough.
Yes, yes, you are.
Okay, great. One fun thing about me, I'm a sports person. I play Taekwondo. I actually teach also an international school, Taekwondo. And I am a swimming instructor and lifesaver. I'm a very athletic and sporty person. Yes, so that's one fun fact about me. I've been doing it since high school. So equally good in both sports competitively.
Okay, that's so fun and interesting. Thanks for sharing. So we can kick off. You're welcome.
Thank you. So I will put my video on, and I'm left late at work, so I hope you can see me. Melanin was not minimized when it was being shared, so I hope
Can
you can
see
all
you. You're beautiful.
Okay, Asante. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me know if there's any hitch.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Are you able to see it?
Yes.
Well, so today's webinar is focusing on parents, right?
Yes.
And how parents would be able to help their learners or help their children be able to maneuver and make very informed career choices. So what you see on the screen, I don't know if there's anyone in the participants, someone who could probably, you could read the chat on my behalf. Anyone who has an idea who those are? So you could read the chat, Rachel, for us. Anyone who has an idea who those are? Anyone? I can see, just a moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Aha.
Mhm.
Yes, I can see the Williams. Yes, thank you, Francis, for that. And the Williams are a household name when it comes to sports. Okay. Um, and it just shows how important, how instrumental a parent is in shaping a child's career, in supporting a child. Um, their father, we all know that the Williams, they are two sisters, Venus and Serena, and their father was their coach right from the beginning. He was also their manager. He was their first cheerleader. For your children to believe in themselves, of course, they have to get it first from home. So if you know your child well, then it is good to know their interests. Sometimes as parents, we grew up as millennials. We grew up when you have an A, you must be a doctor, you must be a lawyer, and all that. I grew up knowing my parents thought I would be a lawyer. I wanted to do medicine. And, as millennials, there are those traditional career paths that right now the Gen Zs and Alphas are going to be very lucky because they have a lot of information, at their disposal for them to be able to make informed career besides the usual traditional paths, that is law, medicine, education. So most parents right now are also a little bit lenient. I think when we grew up, it was very hard. Our parents were a bit. I wanted to do art. I draw as well. I'm a good artist, but not as good as my brother. But it's a skill, an interest that I had to kind of curtail because my dad said, sina pesa ya kununua hizo vitu za art. And I was doing art in a big institution where you'd need very expensive brushes and all those things. So that was one of the reasons I didn't do art. But right now, if probably he knew what we all know now, it's an interest that could have been, propelled. The parent, you as a parent, you need to encourage your children. Let them know they can't be anything. That small thing which you could be looking down upon could actually be the game changer for your child. So as a parent, know your children. That is the first step. When you know your children, you will know their weaknesses and their strengths. You will know if you have many like me, I have four. If you have many like me, you have to deal with different personalities and you have to switch for each child. You have to treat this one like this, the same yet different, because remember they're individuals. So you need to really be aware of your children, their personality, their likes. That is one first step. I'll go to the second one. Let's look at some examples in the Kenya scenario. So I can't see my chart right there. So we go to the next. Francis, feel free to tell us who those are and the rest of the participants. Who we have. We had the Williams. Next, who do we have? What do we see on the screen? Are we familiar with these people? Because now these are local Kenyan examples. Anyone? Yes, we have Omanyala. Not Omanyalas. So we have Omanyala. The other duo is a whole different ball game. Who is the other duo? Yes, Nameless and the girl, the lady, Sharon, Wahoo. Yes. So we have two examples. And Omanyala is not just a sports person. He is actually a police officer. And why did I pick these two examples? It's very clear that we are all familiar with who they are, and knowing them, you realize that there is something behind them that is not what they're known for, that has also put bread on their table. For Omanyala, besides running, I mean, you have to make your fast break. You probably have to do your fast record breaking for you to be known. As the Gen Zs usually joke, or not Gen Zs, millennials, there was this music that used to go, lazima tukane ndio ujulikane. So that is the music industry. But for athletes, you have at least to make a break, whether it's breaking a world record, whether it's participating in a major event, could it be the Olympics, whatever competition, if it's UEFA Cup, if you're a footballer and all that. So if you are able to participate in a big league, then probably the visibility comes. But before that, as you're working, because we all know success is not an instant function, it doesn't just happen. While you're doing that, there's something else that you do. He is a policeman. Nameless and Wahoo, they're equally professionals who met in campus, yes, got married, are in the media industry, but they're each professionals on their different in their different careers. At least for one, we also know that we have a lecturer, we know there is mathematics involved, and that just shows you can be a smart brain with a creative streak. I'm a perfect example of that. Despite being a good A student, I'm still very sporty and I'm still also very creative. So, and I think the world rewards passion once you're able to identify that. I go to the next. Any idea who these are? Those are local examples. Omanyala, Nameless, and Wahoo are local examples. Being an educator who works with international students as well, we have a subject called global perspectives. And global perspectives always emphasizes that whenever you are thinking whether to comment, whether to critique, whether to make an impact in society, always think in threes: local, national, and international. So while my local hero could be my mother or Wahoo and the rest, you can think national. It could be, let me think, who is your hero? Anyone? I've seen Sharon, Francis, Jerry Minor. Can you probably just give us your national heroes? Who would be your national? Those are just examples. The ones we've given are examples. I'm looking at the chat, so feel free. Those are local examples. Who is your national hero? Who is your national hero? For me, I think Okia Omtata is one unsung hero. I think he fights so much for Kenyans. We probably would need to miss him to really understand how much he fights for the voiceless. So maybe we can have another national example. Okay, we proceed. For these two, Okia Omtata as well, yes. Oh, great, Francis. So interesting. Actually, people are into Okia Omtata. So yes, I feel when you look at an individual who walks the talk, his name definitely comes up first. So we have Gabby. And Gabby Thomas is not just a medical doctor. She's an athlete. She's a volunteer. She's gone to Harvard. She has her master's. And it just tells you that you can be an A student while at the same time balancing, a creative streak in you. How the late Wangari Maathai Tunda, thank you for that. We also have Jay-Z. Jay-Z is an artist in America who is not just an artist who can sing, who can rap. He is also a mogul. Okay, he's a business mogul. He has diversified his portfolio in terms of what he sells. Okay, clothing lines, perfumes together with his wife, and there's so much that they do besides their normal careers. So those are just a few of international examples. And now we go straight to the point. How do we make sure our kids are able to look at careers in duality? How are they able to look at careers, like in a multidimensional way? Now, one thing is they also need to identify who they are. That's one of the key things. You know your student, you know your child. Unajua Wangari loves reading, but she loves playing a lot. I know Jane is a heavy reader, and this one is an A student. Then I probably don't know Brian, but That's one step, you identifying, knowing your child, you're more likely to support them in the right way if you're able to know them. And then two, they also need to know themselves. They need to know their purpose. Who am I? Who are you? Whenever you go to an interview, that's one question you have to be asked. Who are you? I mean, for girls, I hope we don't go into interviews saying, I'm married and I'm Mercy and I have 4 children. No, 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 no. That's not who you are. There is more to you than children, than a husband, than a wife. There's more to you than a career. And what that is your greater purpose. Everyone is an individual, and with each individual walking, trading this earth, each individual has their own special forte. Everyone has their unique thing, just like the palm of your hand. Nobody else has the same prints as you. So just the same way, there's something unique about each person. What is your purpose? Okay. Once you know your purpose, you're more likely to be able to delve and now do a career or follow interests that can actually make you happy. Okay. As a parent, if I know this child is sports oriented, I will want to support their career. It is the how that we are going to. If I know this child is academic, I will definitely want to engage them more academically, even if I do not have the finances for tuition, finances for making sure they probably go to the best schools. Maybe all I can afford is a public institution. But once you know your child, this is what they're good at, then you also need, as a parent, how to engage them. You try and focus. There comes a time as teenagers, I've had enough trouble myself with a smart kid who we have had problems because then they are only looking at, sports. Sports alone may not feed you many years to come, not unless you're doing sports in a different way, okay? Because they'll be like, you're not allowing me to go for trainings, or there is a game. Yet there's also reading to do. How do you balance that without them hating you? How do you balance that without them thinking, oh, mom doesn't support me, dad doesn't support me? First of all, if it's a 2-parent household, it is important that both of you are on the same front, so that your child is not allowed by one partner to probably go for their training and the other partner does not support that. Okay, so there will be kind of a tug of war. You should speak from the same front. So if it's a 2-parent household, then make sure if it's a no, training is on specific days, let them also know that academics is on this and this day. So that's one important thing as a parent. Your style of engagement, or your style of parenting, your style of parenting becomes very, very critical on how they can now pursue this. Because if they focus on one thing, duality. If they focus on one thing, then they're most likely to, if that one thing goes off, if this child loses their job, if this child, God forbid, gets a terminal illness or gets a lifelong injury, then it means that this child will not be able to pursue sports. You could be a footballer, but you could be a commentator. You could be a journalist, for football. You could be an editor. You could be doing blogs about football. It's not necessarily that football, we all can't be David Beckhams. We all cannot be Messi's. We have to make them understand that. And how you make them understand that is by exposing them. Make sure if they're in schools where the institutions allow them to have activities, let the child, play with a variety of activities. This term, try football. Next term, try chess. Next term, try swimming. If you live in a neighborhood where the child is able to access, let them try. Sometimes they think, I'm good at basketball, but actually what they're good at is swimming. So expose them, expose your children to different co-curricular activities, different sports. That way, they're more likely to find professionals. They are likely to find better people than them. And what this will do, they will start questioning themselves. Is this what I really want? I thought I'm the best basketballer, but that girl, that boy was so good at it. You know, if they're up to it, they will train more and try to be at par. But then if it's not their thing, lucky you, will be able to tell them, see, I told you, you need to put more effort, focus on this. It's good for you to show them some of these personalities, show them successful people who have been able to pursue two different things. Right now in Kenya, I think with with the current economic status, a lot of households, a lot of families are struggling to put food on their table. They're struggling to pay bills. And it is important for your child to know that they need to look at education as well as other things. It's not just sports. There is different things that your children could do besides sports. They could be artists. Art is so huge. So they could be artists in different fields. Then they need, who are you? Who are they? They need to understand themselves, because a child who understands themselves is able to go out in the world without the pressure of without the peer pressure. They're able to know, I don't have to fit in, because when you're trying to fit in, it's not your place. You know, when you're trying to fit into a jeans which is so tight, unaweza tumbo ndio unafunga button, that's fitting in. But when they know themselves, they're able to belong. They're able to find communities. They're able to find groups where they actually belong. You feel at peace. It's like having a friend or a partner or a companion who, you know, you don't need to pretend to be who you're not. You can just be yourself, and you're sure they're going to be there for you. So that's the same thing that happens when they're able to know who they are. When they know who they are, they will find communities where they belong, and not communities where they're trying to fit in. There's a difference in that. Now, how do they know themselves? Anyone with an idea what this is, Ikigai? Anyone with an idea what is Ikigai? Because that's a key thing for anyone, me and you, our children, to know themselves. Anyone who has an idea what you're allowed to Google. I mean, we are in a tech era, so you're allowed to Google. Anyone can check out what Ikigai means. What is Ikigai? Rachel, I thought you have read a lot, you know what Ikigai is.
I also need to Google.
Nilikuwa nafikiria watu wa ADMI wamesha ingia kwa mtandao.
Tumeingia, but I need
So
to find a proper definition of it.
Okay, anyone? What is Ikigai? Because when you're trying to find out who you are, when you're trying to find your purpose, when you're trying to find to live your best life, yes, it's a concept not from within, but then it is one of the most ideal ways to actually figure out who you are, your worth. Okay, so your worth. Sharon says your worth. Anyone else with an idea what Ikigai is? What you love. Okay, great. Thank you. So we move on to the next. Basically, Ikigai is a Japanese concept based on a book. There's a book, I've forgotten the author, there are two, but there's a book called Ikigai. Ikigai is a reason for being. Why are you here? What's your purpose? Why are you alive? Watu tu wana exist. So if you hate me, naku off. Parents, I hope you know what offing means. I learned it the other day. I was so shocked. These kids come up with a new vocabulary every day. To off means like, you know. So Ikigai is a reason for being. And how best to put it is, you know, you are living your purpose when you do what you love, when you do what you're good at, when you do what the world needs, when you do what you can be paid for. It is very important. If you have a child who reads, you can actually get them that book. It is a very tiny book. It's not very big. It's a very tiny book. It's a hard read. Si kitabu atasoma ati wa enjoy. Ni kitabu, maybe they're probably going to read it 3-4 pages a day, and it will be a lot to absorb, you know? So those 4 questions, that is how you figure out your Ikigai, you figure out your purpose, what you love. You could love many things. I mean, I could love eating, but can eating bring me money? I could love probably walking. Can walking pay me? What you love, I'm not saying that everything that you love must give you money, but since we are trying to look at a balance, we are trying to figure out how to balance the career and creativity. I will get in from that angle, from the what this is a concept that could probably take a day to explain everything so that everyone is at par, but I'll just try and put it in a nutshell. So what you love, it would be good if you encourage your children, whatever it is that they do, let them do things that can also be economically viable for them. If I love swimming, then I could teach swimming and get some coins. If I love cooking, even if I'm a doctor, the other day we saw Amakovewala, who is a medical doctor, and besides being a doctor, she sells fish. And someone was dissing her, okay, picking on her, saying that you come from a huge institution, you're a doctor, you're giving a bad name for doctors, you're basically a fishmonger, fish hawker. And what we love varies, and different people get satisfaction from different things. Now, some of these things that we love could actually translate to economic gain. You love swimming, you love cooking, you love running, you could join the athletes, you love football, you could be paid, you love reading, you could start a blog, you could be an editor, you could be doing transcriptions, you could be doing, columns for newspapers, from what you love. Okay, so Ikigai, 4 things: what you love, what the world needs, what you're good at, what you can be paid for. The second thing, what you are good at. Most parents have sent their children to do courses that plain these kids are not cut out for. They're not good at it. They may like it or they may not like it, but they're probably not good at it. Yes, practice makes perfect. Okay, practice makes perfect. So terms and conditions apply. Practice makes perfect, but you could be so bad at something despite trying, despite giving it your best. And sometimes it's good to know when to quit so that you're not struggling with something that you're not very good at it. You struggle too much. I want to do medicine, and then I'm reading the whole night. I don't have a social life. I've been forced to do statistics because my uncle did statistics. I don't want to go to the university, and my parents feel like you have to lazima when the university. We have not educated all these years for you to say you're going to do a diploma course, a certificate. What you're good at is very important, because with all these 4, when it merges, now you will be living your Ikigai. You'll be living your purpose. Let's go to the next one, which is what you can be paid for. Kenya, you can be paid for anything. During COVID, there's someone who just passed outside KEMSA offices. Na akapewa tender just like that. So you can be paid for a lot of things, including walking outside some institutions, just with a light touch. Some of the things that we like, we can be paid for. You can be paid for teaching, you can be paid for tutoring, you can be paid for reading, you can be paid for babysitting. There's a lot of things that you can be paid for. So Ikigai also demands or requires that what you're doing, can you be paid for it? So that you're not just doing Mother Teresa work. Mother Teresa she was a nun who, that was her joy. Her joy was giving back to the society. 0, she got the Nobel Prize, donated all the cash. Now, not every one of us is Mother Teresa. We have children to feed, we have rent to pay, we have a lot of things to do. So it is imperative that you let them know that this thing that you like, as you're guiding them, as you're guiding your child, what can they be paid for among the things that they like? What the world needs. I've intentionally had that as the last point, because CBC requires I have my own reservations, of course, about CBC, but CBC requires you to have a critical thinking mind. It needs you to be an innovator. It needs you to be creative. Not that 844 and the systems before, not that they did not require that, but critical thinking is actually a core skill. And what the world needs, you can only truly, truly find and, get the gaps that are missing in society if you're a critical thinker. How is that? One, you have to be very observant. You have to be very observant. I live in an estate and I look and I realize there's not enough bins and people just put garbage on paper bags, inside paper bags, and it's picked on Tuesdays. There it's picked on Thursdays. Here it's never picked at all. And I come up with an idea. I think I could start a garbage collection truck. I could be a student who is at the university, and I realize the student center is so far away, or the mess is so far away. I can be buying some food stuff and sell to my students to my peers near the hostels. That's one thing. You have to be observant. You have to check what are some of these problems. It is from the problems, when you solve those problems and become a problem solver, okay, that you will get paid for it, a premium. That's why you will find a doctor earning bare minimum. Anapata tu pesa yake ya serikali, which, from campus, I'm not sure how much it is with the different agreements that we are having right now. But you'll find a doctor, a teacher, complaining, hii pesa ni kidogo. That's, we always need to be proactive. We can do better. And how we do better is by being proactive. Another way of knowing what the world needs is by reading. Most people do not like reading. They say you want something from an African, hide it in a book. I wish we would take that as an insult, because everything that is known is somewhere written in a book, is somewhere written in an article, is somewhere online. We have spaces where you can get articles, you can get research reports and theses and all these projects for very smart brains who have recommendations. When your child goes to those sites and looks at some of these articles and research and whatever that was recommended, they're able to find out what the world needs. Because this means someone did an extensive study somewhere. Some are even case studies, like it is very location specific, okay? Maybe this village, this is a problem. This is so far being catered for, but in 10 years, this is what we foresee. We can forecast this. Now, if your child is able to read, if your child is able to look at different articles, research materials, and is able to tell what the world needs, then that is how they can identify gaps in the society. So when they identify gaps in the society, problems in the society, and come up with solutions and come up with creative ways of solving these problems, that is how they would easily get paid. So in a nutshell, that is Ikigai, a reason for being, what you love, what you're good at, what you can be paid for, and what the world needs. Anytime you're missing something, Rachel, I think this slide will be shared with anyone who will be interested in it, right?
Sure. Yes.
Okay, great. So if you do what you love, but you're not being paid for it, there'll be a problem. Oh, I'm feeling like, watu wananitumia, nini. If you do what the world needs, okay, but you're not good at it, you might start feeling drained. So those 4 words outside the circles, it's important to look at them. I will not delve into them because of I'm trying to look at the time. Yeah, so I'll not delve into them. That those will be shared, but basically it is important to know if I'm doing what I love and what I'm good at, but the world doesn't need, why should I pick maybe a career that is dying? Like right now, very few people, if I want to be a secretary, admin, we have a lot of virtual assistants, that's one. But if I want to be a secretary, I mean, we have people working from home. Who needs a secretary? People need virtual assistants. And with virtual assistants, there's a different set of needs than from what a secretary needs, you know? Maybe as a person sitting at the reception, you need to sit all pretty, dress right, have the right makeup. But as the world progresses, some of these careers are becoming obsolete. And that's why it is important to read, know what is the trend, like right now, AI, technology. When they're able to look at that, then they're able to make very informed decisions about their careers. Okay? Then how can learners fit their interests? Aligning complementary interests. Once they are self-aware, yes, once you know your Ikigai, once you're living your Ikigai, you're able to align. If I am an educator, I am a math chem teacher, and I can teach swimming, I can teach taekwondo, I can do talks, I can do webinars, I can do workshops. And, you know, if I'm able to do that, probably I'm very good at public speaking, then that I'll be able to align that skill to my career. If my career, I'm a doctor, who can I work with? I'm in campus, so probably a computer science student. I want to keep a few education friends. Why is that? Because in 10 years, I have this app that I am thinking of developing, and it would need teachers. And these classmates of mine, they're going to be the next teachers. They're going to be the next school owners. Okay? So you're able to align your interests, your hobbies, you know, you align them to what the main thing that you're doing, complementary. You know, this, I don't have this, but this one has. So complementing your interests, monetizing their interests and hobbies. There's a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And who was more fun? I think the Rich Dad was more fun, but each of them has their own benefit, or is it advantage, disadvantage? Each of them has their plus and each of them has their minus. So we millennials majorly, we were taught that money, we are not taught money is bad, but we were taught money is hard to get. I think the Gen Zs are rewriting that script. Much as now theirs comes, we learned perseverance, you know, grit, patience, which they may not have. I have a HR friend and tells me, Gen Zs, they'll just text. You'll be texting someone, where are you at lunchtime? Wako Limuru viewpoint wameenda. So I think the Gen Zs are rewriting that script. So you could think money takes a long time to come, you know, it's hard to make money, but not really. Once you're able to know your interests, once you're able to tell what does the world need, this, I can give that. I know I am good at this skill, and this is where my skill can be utilized. If you're able to do that, then you will be able to earn from your interests and from your hobbies. Now, legal hurdles. It's good to, even as you explore your interests, as you're looking at your hobbies, look at what the law says about it. Sometimes you have had professionals, you've had students make very bad decisions, you know. They've come up probably with good ideas and inventions, but because they did not have proper legal information, they were not well informed, they probably got into a few problems. And some of these problems can actually be costly in the long run. I'm just thinking, if you are you work in an organization, or you are interning somewhere, some companies have you sign contracts that there cannot be conflict of interest. I want to be PR, for example, and I have gigs, niko na majob huko nje, which are the same as the company that I am working. That is conflict of interest. So it is good for our students, whatever it is that they like and the spaces that they are in, whether they are at school, whether they are interning, whether they are getting ready to go to college, let them know the legal hurdles, the legal problems, the rules, the laws and regulations around their interests, around their hobbies. Reading, they must be interested in reading. If I love chess, then I'm going to read about everything about chess. I'm going to learn the rules, the regulations, and all that. Now, which brings us to the next point, networks and groups that matter. Recently, I was at an office and I talked to this parent. He's just a middle-aged man, and he happened to figure out that I am a teacher and I do career consultations. So he told me, my daughter is a plumber and she doesn't have a job yet. Ameshikilia tu kwa hoteli, sijui unafikiria aje teacher, unaweza kumsaidia kupata kazi. I told her, okay, I may know a few people who have construction buildings. I could probably, they're constructing, I could lead her to one of those. However, if she thinks of innovation, he mentioned this, she's always on TikTok. I told him, TikTok is not bad. It is the content that you're in. What comes in your feed is what you're used to viewing. So some people may be on TikTok looking at very questionable things, but some people could be on TikTok and the things that are popping up in their feed are actually very beneficial, making money from it. So I told him, since she's on TikTok and doing in the hotel industry, she's already moving away from what she loves. However, if she could probably look at groups, maybe get into Facebook, LinkedIn, that TikTok, Instagram, check out professional groups, plumbers in Kenya, plumbers in Nairobi, best plumbers in the world, best plumber in that estate that you're in. She will realize groups. She will see different contents. She'll not see what she's used to seeing. And that way, she probably will decide to come up with her own content or figure out how to reach out to some people, because it's in these groups and in these networks and in these family and circles that true jobs and true knowledge are shared. Not everything is shared in newspaper. Not everything is advertised. Some of these jobs, some of these opportunities, even scholarships, they're just shared within networks. So they say your network is your net worth. I cannot underestimate that. I cannot actually emphasize how important that is. So the networks our children are in, let's teach our children, our learners, our students, let's encourage each other to be in groups that are actually benefiting us. If you are a teacher, be in American groups, Britain groups. If you're a doctor, look where the doctors are. You're a plumber, look where the plumbers are. Because while you're earning 500, there's someone who is paid consultation just like 3,000 to just the person who checks my washing machine. You have to pay. He comes from Embakasi. You have to pay him 3,000 before he comes all this way to Ngong Road, and that you send. Of course, Atakula Fair is a mature person. So there are people who, while they're earning 500, there's someone earning as high as 10,000. There's someone who went to Germany and is making a kill. So let us teach our students, our children, our our colleagues and everyone to be in the groups that matter, so that we are not wasting time on social media, because social media can build and it can also destroy. So it's very important for parents to teach their children the importance of being in the right spaces. Any question you could write in the chat. I feel like I'm talking to myself, since I don't see people, I am a people's person. So when you don't say hello, I could start feeling like we can just say hi in the chat, just to be sure that I am not alone. Rachel, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Mercy.
Okay,
Yes.
Francis, Sharon, Jerry, are we there? Okay, so Then we have, thank you. I see Tunda is saying hello. Possible bottlenecks. What are some of the problems, the challenges that we are likely to face? Okay, what are the problems our students are likely to face as they are trying to pursue to be their best? They are likely to find conflicting interests, both externally and personally. Yesterday, I was with a doctor friend of mine who is a Muslim, and he told me, we happened to talk about gynecology, and he was like, for me, my religion, I wouldn't really want to pick gynecology because, the decency of a woman and that respect. I'm like, never looked at it like that. So conflicting interests. You work in a company, now uko na side hustle the same as that company, you'll be kicked off. You can you can be served with a legal battle. So it's very important as we are teaching our students to pursue their interests, to try get that balance, for them to be gurus, for them to be perfect, for them to do without watching their back, who is coming after me. It's good for them to know the risks and avert the risk, mitigate the risk, reduce the risk, or before the risk, before they come to the risks. So conflicting interests is one. Green-eyed peers. We are all probably, we have all worked somewhere. Even if we are not all working in an office somewhere, we've all worked somewhere. There are people who are always jealous of you. There are people who do not want to see you advance. And our children need to know that. Not all their peers will want them to be successful. And they need to know that. When they know that, they will know not to blow their trumpet. Hawataenda wakiringa, unajua, by the way, kuna hii company walinicall and kuna hii deal walinipea. They will learn to zip their mouth. They will learn to know who to share their successes with. So sometimes you will have peers, colleagues who are jealous of your achievements. Those are, if you have people who don't want you to win, it's very important that you pull yourself from that environment. You could be struggling so hard and they're just pulling you down. You could be working somewhere where you are allowed probably to leave by 3 o'clock, go pursue other interests. Maybe you even leave at 5 o'clock and in the evening you go do your side hustle. But once other people realize that, it becomes a problem. They start putting, roadblocks ahead of you. Another thing, as parents, we tend to live beyond our means most of the time. We try to give our children what we didn't get. We try to overcompensate, especially if we are the only ones. I know the dad is not there, so I'm going to give my best. I'll give him everything. My wife is not there. She'll know I can be better. Sometimes that is one of the reasons. Other times it could just be, those are people who have more than or are able to give more. Sometimes it could be, I really want to pursue this course, but sina time. Nita balance aje your time. I am doing education, but I also want to do physical education. I'm doing computer science, but I want a diploma in IT. I want to do data science. I want to do data analytics, but how do I balance time and resource constraints? It's good for us to lead by example. Let your children know what you can afford. You're going to the university, this is the match fee I have. If you want me to pay for CPAs, unaenda kufanya BCom, sawa. Unaenda kufanya animation ADMI, ni pesa ngapi? This much. What is your free time? It's good to let your children have practical views on how to balance their time and to be very, very aware of what you can afford. That way it saves them burnout, because it saves them and you yourself as a parent burnout. Hakuna haja you are working so hard, you probably are going to leave them behind. They are probably going to leave you behind because they're so constrained. Sometimes you just need small bites, one step at a time. I want to do CPAK. maybe just CPA 1, 2 is enough for me to get a small job, and while at the job, I can grow. So very important to let them know about our time and resource constraints. Very important for them to know how to manage their time, and we lead by example. We learn. Nobody has a manual for parenting. We learn. I am actually on my syllabus is going very fast right here. And then we have personality types and conflicts with parents. Yes, sometimes our children, we don't support them because, like I told you, I should have done art, but my dad was like, sina pesa ya hizo vitu, because I mean that time school fees hata hajamaliza, mi nataka kufanya art. The amount of things needed by art students was like 10,000. I mean, it was not possible. Not that it was too impossible. Maybe if there are other ways to explore how to gain that money, I would have. So when you clash with your parents, when, you know, figure out how to talk to them. Figure out. Don't be so, when it comes especially to their career, let them see in a way that when they make their final decisions, they don't feel like you shoved that choice down their throat. Let them make their careers knowing that, yes, I consulted, but eventually I made the decision. So learn your child's personality, because sometimes the career that you eventually fall in, your personality becomes key. That is for you as the parent, how to reach out to them, but also as the student. Ni vizuri mtoto ajielewe kabisa kabisa. Mtoto akijielewa, they will be able to know, I wouldn't make it in social sciences. I'm not very social. I think I would make a horrible doctor because I also enjoy an extreme. I'm using the word extreme because there are doctors who are balancing it just right. I'm an extreme party animal. Why can't I do marketing or events instead? So let us learn our personality types as parents and and learn our children, so that we are able to check as they're trying to find that balance. Ni career gani, ni nini ninaweza fanya, and they're thinking duality or more. Right now, I don't think anyone does one thing. Everyone is doing something. Yes, I'm a teacher, I do this. I am a stay-at-home mom. I actually am. I am a stay-at-home mom, but I do this on the side. So it is important for us to understand ourselves and our personalities. Then as I am winding up, we have book recommendations that are very important to this specific topic. How Life Imitates Chess will teach you to strategize. Grit will teach you perseverance. How to Win Friends and Influence People. It will teach you soft skills that probably nobody would teach you if you don't land in corporate. Outliers will teach you that sometimes your best might not be good enough to break, because you find the outliers, the people who really made it, there were some situations that made them make it. You know, maybe their parents were already in very high positions, so strategically they were placed. I mean, Uhuru, for me to be a top lawyer, there's probably that godfather. So with that, those are the book recommendations I would. With that, I want to appreciate everyone for participating, and probably Rachel, you can take it up from here. If there's any question, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Marcy. It's such an insightful presentation. And we'd love to hear from our audience. I've sent a message on the chat section that we should now share our questions, if you have them, and any comments before we conclude. Do we have any questions? You can give it like 1 minute to get to see whether we'll get any questions on the chat section. If not, we will conclude the session.
Okay. Nasra, thank you. There you go. Sharon, you're welcome. Thank you, Francis.
Yeah, thank you, Francis. Thank you, Nazra. Thank you, Sharon. I think it was a very enlightening session. I myself, I also enjoyed it a lot because I'm a parent. And there's actually this, the Ikigai section was very, very
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Francis, have ADMI arranged a similar session for students? They need it. We will plan for it, Francis. Thanks for your
It's 19
recommendation.
hours.
Thank you. Taken a screenshot. Nazra.
Karibu sana. Welcome.
We'll share the presentation to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think most of it is just appreciation because it's been a wonderful session. So, Mercy, do you have any like final words that you'd like to share with us?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Your internet is a little bit unstable. It's back now. It's back.
Back now?
Yeah.
It's back?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll try to be quick. I once had a workshop and I invited a diplomat, and he gave a very insightful talk, and it came with a lot of integrity. For you to go far in life, you have to have integrity. When you have integrity, you will attract the right people, you will get trust, people will give you assignments that you wouldn't have otherwise be given. So integrity doesn't just start at work. Integrity starts with us and as individuals, as parents, are we people of integrity? Do our children look at us and think, I would want to be mom? Do our students, if I'm a teacher, look at me and think, I'd want to be like Teacher Mercy? So my key thing is integrity. Always walk the talk.
Thank you. Thank you. Asante sana, Mercy. I've shared, in case you need to speak with Mercy, I've shared her number on the chat section. Asante sana, Mercy, once again for your wisdom and dedicating your time, your 1 hour time with us. And a big thank you to all our parents that joined us this evening. Your presence and your participation means a lot. So our next session is going to be after Easter. And I'll share with you the details and the link to join in. So without wasting your time this evening, I'd like to close the webinar. Once again, I'm very happy that you've been here up to the last minute, and I wish you a very, very lovely evening.